All right, let's jump right into one of the biggest, most frustrating parts of the IELTS exam, the reading section. We're going to crack the code on why those passages can feel so impossible to understand and give you a whole new way to look at them.
So, does this sound like you? You're reading some long academic sentence, you know pretty much every single word, but when you get to the end, the meaning is just gone. It's infuriating, isn't it? Well, if that's you, you're in exactly the right place because you are not alone in this.
So here's the big secret. The problem isn't just one thing. It's not that your vocabulary isn't big enough. The truth is, you're fighting against 4 hidden enemies that are literally built into the text to make it confusing. And our job today, we're going to drag them all out into the open.
Okay, let's meet our first 2 enemies. I like to call them the architects of confusion. Think of them as the builders of a maze. They use complicated sentence structures and tricky punctuation to create something that's designed to be difficult to get through. But what's really cool is how simple this maze is once you see the blueprint. A compound sentence, see? It just connects 2 main ideas of equal weight. But a complex sentence, that has one big main idea and then a smaller supporting idea attached to it. Just knowing that difference is the first step to taking the whole thing apart. And the best part? You don't need to be a grammar expert to spot them. To find a compound sentence, you just have to look for a really simple 3-part pattern. It's like a secret handshake. Once you know it, you're in. The first part of that secret handshake is one of these 7 little words. You can remember them with the acronym fanboys. So when you spot one of these words connecting 2 parts of a sentence, a little alarm should go off in your head. That's signal number 1. And this example shows you the whole pattern perfectly. See? First, we've got our fanboys word, but. Right before it, that's signal number 2, the comma. And finally, the most important part, signal number 3, we have 2 complete ideas. She came and he left. Comma, fanboys, 2 ideas. That's the handshake. You've found a compound sentence. Now, what about complex sentences? Believe it or not, they're even easier to find. All you have to do is scan for a different group of signal words. Words like when, because, although. If one of those is in the sentence, bingo, it's a complex sentence. It's that simple. Let's talk about enemy number 2, punctuation. For years, we've all been taught these super complicated rules, right? But in an IELTS text, it's actually much, much simpler. These 3 marks, the comma, the colon, and the semicolon, they have one main job: to add extra details about something that was just mentioned. They're basically signposts for more information. This is a perfect example. The main sentence is just, he was ready for the greatest achievement of his life. But you're probably wondering, what was that achievement? Well, the author tells you right after the colon. That whole long part just explains what the greatest achievement is. The colon is basically a big flashing arrow that says, hey, here are the details. All right, time to unmask hidden enemy number 3. I love this one. I call these the text's GPS. They're tiny little words that point you all around the paragraph, creating a map of logic. And if you ignore them, well, it's like driving in a new city without a map. You're going to get lost. And here are your main GPS signals. You've got pronouns like he, she, it. You've got this and that. And words like which. Their only purpose is to point back to something that was already mentioned so the author doesn't have to repeat themselves. They're just little shortcuts. Okay, let's see this in action. Take a look at this paragraph from a real passage. If you just read it straight through, it can feel a little disconnected. It talks about a method, then which consisted of something, and then the tunnel and its route. It's easy to lose track of what's what. But now, watch what happens when we turn on the GPS. Boom! It all just snaps into place. You can see that which is pointing right back to the cannot method. And that's the route that belongs to the tunnel. Suddenly the logic is crystal clear. This is how you follow the author's map. And that brings us to our 4th and final enemy. This is the big one. This is the one that everyone thinks is their main problem, the one people spend hundreds of hours trying to fix. But what if I told you it's mostly a myth? I mean, this quote really says it all. The belief that just learning more words is going to solve all your reading problems, well, it's a trap. It keeps you focused on the wrong thing. And this slide right here, this is probably the most important slide you'll see, because this is the reality of IELTS reading. A whopping 80% of your confusion comes from the structure, the sentences, the punctuation, the GPS words. Only 20% is actually about not knowing a word. That is a total game changer, isn't it? It tells you exactly where you need to put your energy.
So we've identified the 4 enemies. We've pulled back the curtain. Now what? Because knowing this stuff is one thing, but actually using it is what really matters. So let's turn this knowledge into a skill with a simple, powerful plan. Get this. All it takes is 12 days. Just 12 days of practicing the right way to completely change how you see these texts.
So here's your mission. Grab an official Cambridge IELTS book. For the next 12 days, you're going to analyze one reading passage a day. But listen, you're not trying to answer the questions. You're a detective. Your only job is to find the 4 enemies. Hunt for those fanboys words. Circle the colons and figure out what they're defining. Draw arrows from every it and which back to what it's talking about. You're not practicing for a test. You're learning to read the blueprint of the text itself. And when you do this, something amazing happens. Your 4 enemies, they stop being enemies. They become your toolkit. You'll start seeing sentence patterns, not just a wall of words. You'll see punctuation as helpful clues. You'll follow the text's GPS without even thinking about it. And vocabulary? You'll see it for what it is, the final 20%, the details, not the foundation. So that's the big shift. The real key to crushing the IELTS reading section isn't about memorizing thousands of words. It's about learning to see the hidden structure of the text. So the real question is, are you ready to stop being confused and start decoding?